Namaste and Radhe Radhe and welcome to our JKYog Youth Conference. Today is day 2 and we are having wonderful talks since morning, and we just completed a power-packed youth panel discussion with Swami Mukundananda ji. Now, continuing the youth conference, the next talk is a much awaited talk by our Major Rao all the way from India. So I'm very humbled and it's my extreme privilege to use this opportunity to welcome him to our JKYog Global Youth Conference. Both his team as well as him, it has been a pleasure working with them. They've been so accommodative in spite of their busy schedule. They said, okay, if it is the youth conference and that too on this platform, we will take our time to share the words of wisdom with our youth community. So without further ado, let me take a moment to introduce Major Rao briefly, and then we will have a quick video that we will watch, and we will, listen to his beautiful speech. Honorable Major Dr. Deepak Rao is a multidimensional personality. He is one of 6 Indians since independence to be knighted by the presidents of India with coveted rank honor for outstanding contribution to anti-terror training, along with sportsmen MS Dhoni and Abhinav Bindra. He is a medical doctor and a certified end-of-life care specialist. He is one of India's top scholars in Samurai and Zen Philosophy. He has completed certificate courses in religious literacy and Buddhism from Harvard University. In addition, he has studied psychology, psychoanalysis, psychotherapy, and mental health from various institutions. He is a known motivational speaker on the powers and potentials of the mind. So let's watch a quick video and then we'll move to the speech by Major Rao.
When you are shot upon by the enemy, return the fire back.
Wow, that was a very powerful video giving a glimpse of what happens in the training, and I can just imagine what happens in the war. So, can't wait to hear from you, Major Rao ji. And the topic is on no mind and mindfulness. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. Today's topic is on the mind, the powers of the mind. Now, the mind has supreme power if it is harnessed properly. He is a maverick who builds the powers of the mind to move mountains, to defeat armies, to weather storms, to paint rainbows in the sky with a single stroke of thought, word, or deed. That's the power of the mind. Now, before we talk about the mind, with some anecdotes from my life, we must first explore what is mindlessness. What is mindlessness? Mindlessness is when the mind is troubled with unwanted sentiment and ego and emotion. What are these various poisons of the mind? You have guilt, you have anger, you have frustration, you have depression, you have fear, and you have lust, you have jealousy. All these emotions bog down your thinking and they make you mindless. When we free ourselves from all these negative emotions, we have a state of mind which is open, which is clear, which receives easily, which can process information, conclude, and execute. That state of mind, which is not bothered by unnecessary conflict, is called no mind. Now, no mind does not mean that you don't use your mind. No mind is a highly evolved state of mind where your mind is not bogged down by emotional conflicts. So, no mindedness is when you free yourself from emotions of jealousy, anger, depression, frustration, guilt, fear, lust, etc. Now, when your mind is clear, that mind can receive ideas, can conceive ideas, can process information, and conclude logically. Now, what is mindfulness? Now, mindfulness is when the mind receives only sensory information. What you see, whether you see the sky, whether you see the clouds, whether you hear the birds singing, whether you smell the roses on the way, whether you're enjoying your phase of life or not, that is mindfulness. Now, you could be sitting in a brightly lit room and you could be thinking of a dimly lit future. So you miss the present moment. A mind which is free from the problems of the future, the very next moment also is the future. A mind which is free from the burdens of the past, the moment that just went by also is the past, is a mind which can sit and relish the beauty of the present moment. Now, what is this present moment? You see, life is divided into various phases. You have childhood, you have college, you have career, you have your girlfriend, relationship, marriage, you have adversities, and you have, the further ages. Now, we are talking at a youth conference, so let's focus on the youthful phases of life. So, if you go through childhood just studying and missing the pleasure of being a child, if you go through your college life just aspiring to get those high scores, then you miss the pleasure of being in college, the pleasure of interacting, the pleasure of having fun, the pleasure of being young. If you go through career without having the mindfulness of enjoying your prime years, of taking up various challenges at work, of trying to reach various goals, then you miss the pleasure of working. Ask those people who have retired what it is to work, and their eyes will light up. But those who are working are only concerned about reaching their goals. So here we are going to talk about a state of mind where you enjoy the phase of life which you are currently and presently in. Now, let us speak about I'll give you anecdotes, from my life. Let's talk about childhood. What is childhood? Childhood is to have fun in school. Childhood is, a process of playing, of indulging in sport, of enjoying the peer groups and the peer fun. We can't, you know, ever say that our childhood was bad. Everyone says that they had a good childhood. Of course, a little bit here and there. Now, in childhood, we discover certain strengths and certain weaknesses. The weaknesses of our childhood can become trauma. Let me give you, an example. When I was a child, I was a bullied child. I used to be bullied by my colleagues. I used to be bullied by my seniors, and I was very scared. I had to overcome this fear of being bullied, fear of being, bashed up by my seniors. So I took up to martial arts. I studied martial arts for over 3 years, from my 7th grade to my 10th grade. And I acquired a certain degree of expertise. With this degree of expertise, I would soon become bully resistant. I could take care of those people who were bullying me, and I could harness my weakness. It's very important that the weaknesses which you may have experienced in your childhood have to be harnessed. For example, if you're scared of dogs as a child, then when you grow up to be an adult or a youth, you have to overcome that fear and not let your past bother you. Once this happens, your mind will become a little more clearer and you'll enter a little more into the domain of no mind. So, sorting out your issues of childhood as a youth is extremely important part of your youth. Let's talk about college. Now, everyone who goes to college wants to become a doctor, wants to become an engineer, wants to become a computer engineer, wants to become a technologist, wants to become a scientist, wants to become a pilot. How is it that each one of us have more or less the same goals? Very few professions to choose from. This can't be the case, right? You have to find your aptitude and you have to carve your path along your aptitudes to reach your maximum potential. That's what this conference is about. It's about enabling each person to reach his maximum potential. And for that, you have to harness your mind. You have to become no mind. You have to leave behind all those emotions and sentiments which clog your thinking and which restrain you, repress you, and which prevent you from manifesting who you really are. And that is why college is extremely important for us to find our aptitudes and to find our own path. Well, when I was in college, I realized that my tendencies were towards chemistry. I was very, very, very inclined to become a chemical scientist. But well, you see, my parents said that you are a top ranker and you should go along the lines of medicine. So, with that one track mind, I went and studied medicine. Years later, you see, or other decades later, when I was 40, again, my aptitude came back to haunt me. By this time, I was working as an external resource in combat training, and I got deeply interested in explosives. I started studying the subject of explosives. I did some courses, and I started training people to identify explosives and to deal with them. Now, was this not a reflection of my deep interest in chemistry? But well, I did not pursue my potential, my aptitude of chemistry when I was a youth. And that is why it came back with a big bang when I was 40. And I could use that aptitude to reach my potential in chemistry. So it's extremely important that as youth, you have to find your own song and you should not imitate the herd. Let's go a little further into the next stage of life. Let's talk about relationships. Now, college is a time where you start discovering the opposite sex. You are inclined to have girlfriend. Yeah, I mean it as a pun. You are inclined to have a girlfriend. You look forward to relating deeply with the opposite sex. And the first girl who takes interest in you, you decide that she's going to be your soulmate. Such is college. Now, it's important that you don't jump into a relationship without checking your compatibility. It's extremely important that you have to understand the opposite sex. You have to understand that men and women are emotionally different. They're psychologically different. They have different expectations. They have different needs. And therefore, marriage, whether it's marriage or whether it is relationship or whether you are just having a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatsoever, it's important that you approach it with the correct attitude. Let's go over to profession. Now, profession is, like I said, in the direction of your aptitude. Profession requires opportunity. You know, you may be interested in something like mountaineering, and you may not see an opening in mountaineering as soon as you finish your graduation. So therefore, opportunity hunting is very important. But then, you know how it is. When opportunity knocks on your door, you think it's noise. So it's important for you to keep your eyes open, ears open, and be mindful, be aware of your environment, and find your path. Now, when I went to Pune, I left Bombay, I went to Pune when I was 22, 24. One early morning during a walk, I happened to see soldiers training in unarmed combat. And I was just looking into through a gate of a physical training army school where instructors were training soldiers in unarmed combat. I went and I interacted with them. And I spoke to the commandant of the training center. And he organized a seminar for me where I was to go and give a presentation on martial arts. That was an opportunity for me, for my potential. And that was how I entered into training the armed forces. So you too have to find your opportunity, which is very, very important in your profession. Next important thing in your profession is learning. It's very important that you keep learning. I started teaching unarmed combat to the armed forces. Meanwhile, I learned how to shoot. I was good at it. Very soon, my shooting abilities became, they got noticed by the army units, and they started inviting me to teach shooting. After shooting, I started working on team shooting, how teams shoot together. And that's how I progressed from unarmed combat to shooting to team shooting. And finally, I entered the domain of close quarter battle. Close quarter battle is where two teams engage in combat with each other. So, the important point here is that you have to keep learning and you have to keep advancing in your knowledge of your subject in your career. Third important thing is that you have to have a plan. Your career cannot be random. Your career has to have a plan. In the words of Bruce Lee, you don't plan to fail, but you fail to plan. So you must never fail to plan. Now, in case of my rendezvous with the armed forces, I started training first small units, then we went over to slightly larger brigades, then to divisions. From divisions, we started training higher formations like corps, and finally we trained the command. So this was a plan. A plan is very important in your career or in your chosen profession. So never fail to plan. Now there are always obstacles. I had an injury when I was learning to shoot, and I went half blind in one eye. I could not see. I had a retinal tear and detachment. When I was learning how to shoot, I thought I'm never going to learn how to shoot because I have deficient vision. But then I overcame this obstacle because I had to close one eye and shoot. So I learned to close my eye, which was deficient, and I learned to shoot. And I could shoot really well. So you have to find a way out of your obstacle. That's very, very, very important. Now, strength does not come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things that you once thought you could not do. So all of you have to get comfortable with overcoming obstacles. Going over to the next important thing in your career, it's about innovation. You don't have to keep doing the same things which have been done by your predecessor. You have to innovate. You have to contribute to your profession. You have to take the working to the next level. And it's very, very important. In my case, I started researching shooting. Conventionally, the rifle is brought from below up against gravity. I started wondering, why not bring the rifle down using gravity? Conventionally, you use the foresight and the hindsight to shoot. At close quarters, where the enemy is about 30 yards, you don't need to do that. You could simply use the foresight. This way, my innovation got shaped into Rao method of reflex shooting. And it was a hit. So I urge all of you, think of how you can do this same old work, taking it to the next level. You have all got brain. You got to use it. And if you want to use your brain, your brain has to be no mind. By no mind, I mean, again, you can't be burdened with unnecessary emotional conflicts. I repeat, emotional conflicts are always there, but you have to clear your mind. You have to sort out your issues and you have to get mindful. The moment you get mindful, you start thinking about your present moment. Zoom out of your future, zoom out of your past, come back to the present moment. What is your present moment? Your present moment is your phase in life. You are going to stay in college for only a couple of years. You're going to be a novice in your profession only a couple of years. You're going to be a leader in your profession for only a couple of years, maybe a decade. So therefore, enjoy being a novice, enjoy being a leader. For this phase of life is going to pass you by so fast that you won't even realize that it's over. And therefore, make sure that the most important thing is that you have to enjoy being in the present moment. Mindfulness. Let's go a little further. Adversity is always going to be part of life. Some days when you're partying, you may slip and fall and you may break a bone. Some days when you're playing football, you may fracture your femur. Some days you may just fall ill. Some days you may lose your job. All this is a useful, necessary part of life. It happens to all of us, but all of us don't necessarily react positively to it. It's very important that you have to understand what is normal in life, and obstacles and adversity is very normal. The devil whispers, "You can't withstand the storm." The warrior replied, "I am the storm." So it's very important that you have a very, very brave heart attitude to adversity. And adversity will die, or you will die. If you are not going to die, then the adversity will die. So relax and again enjoy. You are in the warrior part of your life where adversity is normal and you're going to fight and you're going to get through it. So, a necessary part of life. Now, what about recognition at work? At work, recognition, don't aim for recognition in the beginning. Just make sure that you give your everything to work. Make sure that you're joyous at work. You see, no one wants to promote a frowning manager. No one wants to promote a frowning worker. It's only the happy worker who gets promoted. Yeah, of course, you got to perform. You got to have average results in all that you do. But then you got to smile. If you smile, then people smile back at you. If you wait for others to smile at you, then it may not happen and you'll be left with a frown. So therefore, it's very important that you be joyous in order to get recognized. Now, sometimes when you've given it enough and you're not recognized, you probably got to ask them to recognize you. It's very, very important. It's like, in my life, I have done a lot of work after about 15 years or 17, 18 years of work or for various paramilitary forces and police forces and armed forces. I approached the Ministry of Home Affairs and I told them, look, this is my work and I need to do work at the national level. So why don't you, get me to become a resource for the Home Ministry? So they looked at me and the Home Minister Chidambaram, he ordered a pilot course to check out how good I was at a commando academy for ITBP. So at the ITBP academy, I ran a course, and that course was tested. It was found useful. And after that, I was made a resource for the Home Ministry to train anti-terror squads. And we trained anti-terror squads of 12 states in just about 3 years. So recognition will come when you ask them, when you have competence, when you have put in enough. That's the time you have to ask for recognition. You don't aim for recognition right in the beginning. Another thing is, life is not just career. There are other things also to life. In your career, you don't have to try to fit in when you are born to stand out. So it's very important that you have to spread your wings to learn how to fly. And you have to do what it takes till you touch the sky. Now, you have to look at life outside your career. You cannot equate your life to your career. You have to dare to choose your path. You have only one life where you will do everything that you want to do. So go on adventures and find out what life is about. In my case, I turned author. I started writing books on philosophy, political science, uh, a lot of training manuals. Some of my books went into FBI, Interpol, SWAT, Buckingham Palace. So I think you can also find different songs that life has to offer you, which need not be just career, career, career. You can't spend your life from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week, working in your office, working back from home, and even sitting and sorting your career issues and office issues during your sleep. That's not what life is about. So it's very important that you look at various dimensions which are outside your career. Service. It's very important that you do something for society, something for the world, something pro bono, which is not based on material gain, which is not done for recognition, but which is simply done with a sense of service to society. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others, said Mahatma Gandhi. So, service has its own magic, its own contentment, and you must definitely do some service, social service, or share your expertise, whatever your expertise is, share it with others in society. Man in the Arena. I'm going to read you out a beautiful poem. Life's credit belongs to the man in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly to succeed, who knows the triumph of victory, and if he fails, fails daring greatly. His place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. So you must live your life like the man in the arena. Now, the summary of what I told you is to be mindful. Now, let's come back to mindfulness. Now, I would like you to do a small session on mindfulness. Now, the youth today are interested in meditation, they're interested in hypnotism, they're interested in all kinds of things to harness their mind, to communicate with their mind, to control their mind, to be one with their mind, to be like water, to be fluid with your mind. Now, I'm going to take you on a meditative exercise. I would like all of you to participate in this exercise along with me. So you just sit back and relax on your chair. Sit back, relax on your chair, close your eyes, listen to me, and follow my instructions. First, close your eyes, focus on numbers, focus on the number 9. You can only think of 9. Do not think of anything else. 8, 7, 6. Focus on 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Your mind is now thoughtless. Focus on your breath. Take a deep breath. Hold it for a while. Exhale. Feel the air going through your nostrils. Take a deep breath again. Hold it. Exhale. Repeat it the third time. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Exhale. Now, a number of thoughts will start surfacing on your mind. Think back. Think about guilt. Do you have any guilt? Do you have any guilt about the past? Have you misbehaved with your dear ones? Is that hurting you? All right. Now it's time to wash it off. Remember, mistakes are human. Wash off the guilt. Imagine you're taken a pail of water and you washed off the dirt of guilt from your mind. Anger. Do you have any anger? Yes, we all are angry. Think about the anger. Think about how it clogs you, how it makes you feel so restless. And for once, forgive it. Forgive the person who made you angry and let it go. Because no one should give you the power of getting angry. You don't want to get angry. Wash it off again with a pail of water. Depression. You have any pessimism in your mind? Do you think your future is bleak? No. Do not expect. Live one day at a time. Build a no expectation in your mind. Let things go wrong. Fear of things going wrong. Yeah, we all are afraid. It's very normal. But we can't let this fear bog us down. So therefore, get ready to face whatever goes wrong and however you may face it. Lust. Do not lust for gadgets. Do not lust for vehicles. Do not lust for anything. Just be moderate. Moderate your lust. Moderating your lust will take off the pressure of performance. Now, you have attempted to wash off the unwanted emotions in your mind. Now, let's practice mindfulness. Right now, imagine your mind to be clear, empty, void, and free-flowing. Now, let us begin the mindfulness exercise. We go over the word peppy. We'll take the word P. Think of the phase of your life. Whether you are in college, whether you are in work, whether you are married. Think of the beautiful phase in your life. The phase that may just last a couple of years or a decade. Think of the good events that are happening in this phase and feel good about it. You are in the best part of your life. Now let's move over. Think of the environment. Think of the sunshine. Think of the clouds. Think of the rain. Think of the birds around. You are experiencing the wonders of the world. Let's go over to people. Think of the people around you, all the nice people, your colleagues at work, your relatives at home, the lift man who gives you a smile. Think of your friends. Think of all the beautiful people around you who make you feel good. Now let's go over to the last one. Why? Yourself. Think about all the good qualities which you have. Do not think of anything negative. What do you like about yourself? Ask yourself. All those qualities which you have accumulated. Feel good about it. Now slowly open your eyes to the beautiful world. Look around. Look around at the beautiful people around you. See their faces, smile at them and they will smile back at you. Look outside the window. See the beautiful sky. If you can see some birds or sunshine, bask in the beauty of the universe. So this is the mindfulness exercise. Whatever you are doing, work, whether you're in college or whether you're studying or whether you're on an adventure, you have to learn to look around at all the good things around you, including the good things that exist in you. So we'll end by a small poem by Bruce Lee. Walk on and see a new view. Walk on and hear the birds sing. Walk on and smell the roses. Walk on and feel the sunshine. Walk on and leave behind everything that clogs the inlet of experience. You are now ready to take on the world. With this, I hope I have educated you on how to harness the power of the mind using no mind and mindfulness. We are finished. I think I can take questions.
Wow. Wonderful, Major Rao. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. And I should say that you literally touched upon all the different phases, right? Like you started with your school and gave us priceless lessons for life, starting from how we should overcome the fear, face the fear and try to overcome that, carve your path, your chemistry example, your passion for that, carve your path, follow your passion. And then you also very beautifully touched upon the importance of relationship in life. It's not only about what you do and what you achieve. Relations be you know they form an important part. And your tips for profession, especially the opportunity hunting, that was amazing. And then you went on to talk about the overcoming the obstacle part. Life is never a bed of roses, and we have to follow, we will be encountering obstacles and we have to face that. And you also talked about how you have to balance your life is not just career, balancing the life. And last but not the least, how you have to have a purpose in life and do something for a selfless cause, do some service. I would say this is a complete, well-rounded speech. Really, really appreciate you joining our forum today and for sharing all these wisdom with our youth community. we now move on to the question and answer session. There are some questions coming up in the chat window. Please do post your questions. We will try to take them. So we will start with the first question, sir. The first question is, uh, especially understanding your background, right? I think this is hearing from you will be priceless. According to you, what is more important, brain or brawn? And how important is the mind in achieving our goals?
The most important muscle in your body is your brain. And the brain doesn't work without a healthy, fit body. And therefore, brain and brawn both are equally important. They are yin and yang of the Tao. So, brain and brawn brings beauty. Next.
Very nice. Wonderfully said. Yes, you have to strike that balance and, try to healthy uh, body has a healthy mind and vice versa. Healthy mind and a healthy body, that is the right combination that will, make one successful. So the next question, we can take it from the audience and, pointing back again to your speech, I just loved your quote, which said, strength is not doing what you can do, but overcoming things that you once thought you cannot do. I think that was a very powerful message to our youth. So, going in that line, there's a question
That was
related to.
Vicky Rogers. That was
Oh,
not me.
okay.
That was Vicky Rogers.
Vicky Roger. Okay, I just noted it. I heard it through you. Okay. So the question is about obstacles, right? And the question from Manisha Wali is, what is that one thought that kept you motivated to overcome the obstacles in your path?
The fact that I was not the only one who was facing obstacles. Everyone has obstacles in life. Like Buddha told the lady who went to him and cried that my child is dead. He said, go around in your village and find at one house where there has not been a death in the last few decades. And she came back and she said, well, every house has had a death in the last few decades. So the fact that obstacles are a normal part of life, they're not something bad that's happening only to me. They happen to everybody, and I must enjoy fighting the obstacles with mindfulness to my current phase of life. So that's what keeps you going.
Wonderful. Wonderful, sir. Thank you for that answer. There are a couple of questions, related questions that are coming from the audience related to distraction and how we can be focused, especially in terms of during adversities. So any tips? Because especially for youth, there are a lot of this. I won't even say youth, right? In this social media, even with WhatsApp messages and signals and notifications, there are a lot of distractions. So what will be your words of advice for the youth related to increasing focus and avoiding distractions?
Well, I'm going to have a little bit different opinion here. Distractions, by distractions, we probably mean things which are outside the syllabus, outside of what we are supposed to do. Good boys are supposed to study, they're supposed to focus, and they're not supposed to get lured by the temptations of distraction. Well, no, I would say get distracted. I would say open your mind to everything that's happening around you. I don't mean to say just focus on social media, but I mean to say if you're studying, well, yes, you study, but you also have sport, you also listen to the radio, you also enjoy your music, you also enjoy your social media. You keep your mind open to anything and everything that's happening around you. And that is the right way that you will finally find your song. You'll find out what you really want from life, and you may really end up finding the right aptitude. So no distraction is bad, but don't get distracted before your exam. Yeah, you got to study the day before your exam.
That's an interesting perspective. So, what you're trying to say is keep your eyes and ears open and try to be, try to be a continuous student, look for opportunities, but at the same time, be mindful of what is your current phase and focus on
Yes.
what is required right now, because that is going to keep you moving ahead. I think that's a beautiful, profound answer, Major Rao. Now, the next question, actually, it is more coming from me, but I'm sure all the viewers will get benefited from that. While we were researching about you and the work that you have been doing, we came to know that your wife, Dr. Seema ji, she is well known as Wonder Women of India. So, very curious to know what role did your wife play in your journey, and I also want to extend it to know what role you played in the success of her life as well.
Behind every successful man, there is a woman who tells him he's no good. So, yeah, my wife has been with me through thick and thin. I had a lot of injuries. I had a very bad broken back. I had a dislocated knee, and my wife was always there by my side, supporting me, encouraging me. And this journey would have not been possible without my wife. And it would not have been possible without all the beautiful people who are associated with me in every phase of my life. So we got to be grateful, we got to be thankful to everybody. And yes, of course, my wife played a very important role in my life. So life.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Major Rao. I think that was a beautiful. So it is like be the support for each other, and sharing is caring. Very nice. So we'll take. There are questions, a lot of questions coming from the audience. So let's take this. It's coming from Vivekanand Ramakrishnan. Is asking, you mentioned about requesting for recognition after few years of service or after a significant achievement. Any more tips to bring this to notice of seniors?
I'll speak about this a little more in general. When you go for your interviews, let's start with getting a job. When you go for your interviews, you are asked 100 questions, and you sit there and you try to please the interviewer. But you never ask, what is my pay going to be? What are my perks going to be? Why not? The employer is trying to employ you. You are trying to get a good job. It's very, very important that you have the communication to ask. If they ask you, why do you want this particular job? You tell them, I'm not sure. You tell me why I should want this particular job. It's very, very important. I know you'll tell me it can't be done. No, it can be done. If you exhibit this kind of confidence, if you exhibit, this is not really confidence, this is really concern. If I work for you, what will be my work hours? What will be my perks? What will be my salary? When are you going to promote me? I think it's a dialogue. Interview is a dialogue between two people. So both of them are entitled to ask each other. Similarly, when you work, it's very important that you get your role defined. What am I going to do? Am I only going to sit here and do something passive which some guy before me has been doing? Or am I supposed to use my brain and better the process which has been allotted to me for work? And you have to make sure that your work speaks for you. Slowly with time, after you have put in enough work, after you put in maybe a decade, maybe 2 decades, that's the time you look for recognition. You don't look for recognition right in the beginning. And if you have done good work, you must be able to go up to your boss and say, boss, you see, I have delivered. I've delivered more than what was expected from me. So are you going to promote me? It's very, very important. And if not, well, tell me where I went wrong and let me see how I can rectify that in the coming term. So it's very, very important that you communicate. It's very important that you do it without negativity. You do not, you never demand it as if it's your birthright, but you communicate. You say, well, this is what I've done. And if you think it's good, when am I going to get recognized for it? When am I going to get promoted? And if not, set me goals and let me see how I can better myself. Your boss probably can help you by identifying your weaknesses. But then we always look at the boss as somebody to be feared, somebody whom you have to be wary of. And we all believe that we should not upset the boss and we should not defy his opinions, or we should not, you know, say that the boss is wrong. Well, no, you have to base everything on logic. If you have logic backing your statement, then you can very politely go and assert, and you can tell the boss, this is my opinion. And I think this is what I got, the tip that I would like to give. That is, communicate, and do not be afraid of your boss. And of course, be smiling all the time. It's very, very important for you to be joyous, for you to be happy, because progress in life is not just dependent upon your performance, it's also dependent upon how happy you are, because people like happy people around them. Your superiors, your seniors would like to promote happy people around them, who will sit around them and who will be part of their team. So it's very important for you to be happy, not to feel victimized, not to feel, singled out, not to feel criticized. It's very, very important. So that is my tip.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that definitely added a lot more clarity. So with that, we are almost running out of time. Maybe we can take one. We'll have this will be our final question for the day. So you shared us a lot of life lessons of this, or even beyond. If you could share with us, especially coming from you, because you've excelled in so many fields. What is that one quality that made you do this, and what is it? What will be your words of wisdom to the youth, that this is one quality that you definitely should have, and that will take you to places.
I would like to leave you with a very important saying. And that saying is, keep your mind open to new ideas, because an idea can change your life. And sometimes an idea can change your wife.
That was that was a very, very wonderful way of wrapping up this talk. Major Raoji, thank you so much once again. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us in this JKYog Youth Conference and sharing the words of wisdom from your practical experience with the broader community, and especially for our youth. So thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you more and more in our future events as well.
See you. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
You too.